Okay, Mundies. You've been bugging me for 3 years. Where's season 2? Where's more Wolf Among Us? It finally paid off. Congratulations. Season 2, 2018.
Telltale shutting down. Gaming is over. Gaming is finished. Only games now will be Battle Royale.
30 seconds to win. Team Slay.
So Telltale Games are shutting down. They made some really popular titles like the Walking Dead Adventure series, Borderlands, and even Batman. But most importantly, the biggest thing Telltale Games have done to the gaming industry is make PewDiePie cry.
PewDiePie was just dropped by Maker Studios. A YouTube star had posted some offensive videos containing anti-Semitic content.
Thank you so much, Telltale. Thank you for making him cry like a bitch. So why did Telltale Games shut down? Why had they disappeared? Well, in today's game theory, we're gonna find out. So Telltale Games had a majority layoff with only about 24 people left to finish their games. That's a layoff of around 225 people. The Walking Dead final season was released recently. You know, little Clementine, who we've been following for like half a decade, seeing her grow up and mature. Well, we're gonna get no conclusion to that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know what we're gonna get instead? Minecraft story mode. I am so happy that we're gonna get an ending to Minecraft story mode. I don't care about Walking Dead, Clementine, Lee. I don't care. Ducky? More like dead.
It'll be okay.
Well done!
So we're gonna get more Minecraft instead of The Walking Dead. Both of them are pretty oversaturated at this point, but I know which one I would have preferred. It's the one with the diamond pickaxe. Telltale did make really good games, and it is surprising to see them get shut down because game companies nowadays outside the indie scene, they are monoliths. They are these enormous entities that just seem insurmountable, and there is no way that anything bad could happen to them. So I've done a bit of researching, a lot of digging, and I found some possible conclusions as to why Telltale Games have shut down. Now, reason 1, the games themselves. So if you think of a Telltale game in the past like 2 or 3 years, they are quite linear. You're given a lot of dialogue choices, a lot of options, but usually they just end up leading to the same thing anyway.
How are you today, Mr. Bigby?
Fuck off, Buffkin.
This really does kill replay value, and Telltale Games, even though they're in like an episodic format, they are quite short. So if you play an episode once, you don't really have that much incentive to play it again because, well, what's the point? If you choose option A or option B, they usually just divert into the same path anyway. The Walking Dead is a great example of this. You could have a character that you could possibly save or let die. If they die, done for good. But if you save them, they're usually just killed later in the same episode or just the next episode. So it feels like a lot of choices are really just meaningless and don't hold much value. Another detriment to it was the game's engine. It's definitely gotten better recently, especially with the final season of The Walking Dead. But before that, the engine was just terrible. Like, think about it. 80% of a Telltale game is going to be you talking, just dialogue and dialogue trees. And they couldn't even nail that right. The lip syncing in those games, usually it could go from average to just horrendous.
He did so many bad things to so many people.
There were so many bugs and glitches with the engine, and it really shouldn't be like that. If it's a massive open world game and there's bugs and glitches, that's to be expected. It's part and parcel, but not with a linear game. I mean, before the final season of The Walking Dead, where combat was less linear, was there even anything outside a quick time event in those games? If it is that linear, it needs to have top tier polish. I think another point as well, and this one's more controversial, is the YouTube scene. YouTubers playing the game definitely blew the game up, and a lot of people saw it on YouTube and they thought, hey, I want to get this game. But at the same time as well, because of how linear the games are, a lot of people would see a YouTuber play the game and then they wouldn't really buy the game themselves. You just watch it on YouTube. It's kind of got that same stigma that a horror game has, in the sense that you were never going to buy it anyway, so you just watch someone play the horror game because you were too much of a pussy to play it. I still watched all of PewDiePie's The Walking Dead game videos because I never was interested in buying the game.
Dog is so handsome, but I could get laid. But dog is so handsome, but I could get laid. But dog is laid.
I don't really blame YouTubers for it. It's kind of a dumb point to make, but still, it's definitely a factor there. At least you could say that YouTubers popularized the game, and from there on in, it's pretty much your own thinking. We gotta be nice to PewDiePie, alright? They made him cry. No one makes Felix cry except me. Also, another problem was Telltale themselves. For years and years, even if you just look up news articles, they've been having internal conflict for ages. If you just go on Twitter and look at some Telltale employees, you could just see a lot of them complaining about not getting basic human resources. Like, they'd work overtime for ages, probably sleeping in the office, and then they get booted out. They get absolutely no pay. Nothing. The ex-CEO, Kevin Bruner, was removed from his position because, quote, Bruner was deprived of relevant insight into the management and financial state of Telltale. Then Bruner cries that his contract was forcefully breached. So, people on the inside just genuinely didn't even know what they were doing. Then the ex-CEO apparently sued Telltale. Also, another point, and this is probably my favourite, is Telltale made some bad choices. They made some very bad choices, and with bad choices comes bad games. Everyone really likes to take a fat dump on The Walking Dead Michonne, saying it was a mess. All these characters got introduced that you'll never see again. It was pointless, money grabbing. Shh, 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 shh. Have you guys heard of Telltale's Jurassic Park? There was definitely some bad choices that Telltale made. Jurassic Park, they should have just never touched that. That was a really, really bad game, and I think it was really hard to find a Let's Play of that game for footage with a Let's Player actually enjoying themselves without having a gun pointed to their head.
Okay, I probably should jump that route. This is going to be quick time events, isn't it? I missed the rock.
The excitement and wonder from the films are nowhere to be found here, and you won't miss much if you skip this title.
I think the main problem with Telltale, and again this is another controversial point, is that they never really had any unique IPs or new IPs. They kind of just always leached from pre-existing stuff and built foundations off that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm a huge hypocrite for even complaining, because my entire channel is built off leeching off trending and popular content, like most YouTubers, but they never really had an IP that was their own. They'd always pay royalties and just take from something that was already pre-existing. And that's great, and it's a great way to easily make money. You can kind of lose focus on what makes a game and just get greedy. Oh, Batman's a popular IP. Let's make a game on that. Oh, Borderlands has a cult following now. Let's just make a game off that. I think at one point, the higher-ups at Telltale, they stopped caring about making games within universes to expand on them, and they just wanted to expand their wallets instead. Now, I know this isn't a regular video I make, and the main reason I made it is because I remember Telltale a long time ago because I used to play the Sam and Max series that they made.
The playing cards have granted you the power to thrust your consciousness into the fleshy minds of others.
What the hell?
Now, Sam and Max, I bought off Xbox Live Arcade. If anyone remembers that cesspit. Sam and Max was great. It was this point-and-click series, and it's nothing like the modern-day Telltale games. Modern-day Telltale games, talk, quick time event, talk, quick time event. Sam and Max was more like a point-and-click game in a 3D world, and you really had to think. Like, I remember being this young, total dumbass, and it would take me about 7 hours just to solve a puzzle or combine an item just to progress in the game. But that feeling you got, that boost of dopamine in your brain from just working out the most dumb stuff, it was great. It was a great feeling. And it's a shame that over time, Telltale have really, I wouldn't say dumbed down. Dumbed down's kind of a mean word. Streamlined. They've streamlined their games just a bit too much where it's accessible to everyone. Everyone can play it. And by streamlining something so much, you lose a lot of things. And like I talked about earlier, replayability. Once I finish an episode of The Walking Dead, which is pretty much the only Telltale game I've played, any of the modern ones, I never wanted to play it again. I thought that was complete, that was done. Even though you get your choices at the end of the loading screen saying, these players said these nuts. This player said Thanos car because he's an unfunny prick.
Have you seen my wife? Have you seen Beauty? Mother.
It's ironic actually, because apart from PewDiePie and Markiplier and any of the big boy YouTubers, the most viewed series of Telltale games are people that are just being absolute assholes. They're picking the worst options. They're either silent the entire game or this just sarcastic asshole. Because when you see people play this game, they all just pick the same options. Everyone wants to be like the nice guy protagonist. It does get boring. They are linear games. Like, you'll get that pop-up that always says, this person will remember that thing you did. But they don't. It's irrelevant. Maybe they'll bring it up as dialogue off a whim, like 2 episodes later, but it doesn't mean anything. If you said different dialogue throughout the game, and it all accumulated to this one choice, instead of it just being left or right, good or bad, then it would actually be a good game. But in Telltale's defense, I do feel that if each episode or each game had that much freedom of choice where everything branched off to another area, each episode would have to be like $50-$60 just to like satisfy the accounts of everyone, because that would be a lot more designing you need to put into that game. Overall, it is sad seeing Telltale get shut down. I don't think we'll ever have another game company that can make PewDiePie cry on camera. And that's quite a shame. By the way, if any of you actually played Sam & Max and you do like point and click games where you actually have to think, one game I would recommend is I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I know I'm kind of a basic bitch for recommending it because the amount of YouTube videos on it is just immeasurable at this point, but if you do like point and click games, like really old school Telltale, then I do recommend that game. It's an amazing experience, and it really makes you think, you know? It makes you think you have 300 IQ. So then you go on Reddit saying you're above everyone else. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed. I know this is different content. It's annoying to see Telltale being shut down. It's just a skeleton crew now trying to finish off contractual obligations, but then they're probably going to be gone for good. I wanted to make a video talking about it. Sorry I'm not bullying any 9-year-olds. I'm really apologetic about that. Normal videos coming soon. Leave a like if you enjoyed this insightful documentary. Smash subscribe. Turn notifications on. Send me your bank details. Do that. Don't do that. Idiot.